All right, howdy. How we doing today, boys? Welcome to a NFL tier list. We haven't done this one in about a month. I think about a month ago we were confident that maybe three teams in the NFL were good, which usually isn't a great start to the season, but I think we have a better idea of who's good, who's bad. There is no in between anymore. Either you're a Super Bowl contender or you're complete garbage. There's barely any tiers, really, but we're gonna do our best to arbitrarily map them onto a little list. And boy, oh boy, let's just do this. Okay, number 32. Okay, we're going. This is the bottom five tier. Number 32. It's gonna be the Houston Texans. Where are they? There they are. Yeah, just I haven't gotten a spark to them at all. They beat the did they beat the Colts or the Jaguars? I don't know. Um, just no real positives. Damian Pierce has been great. Uh, Davis Mills hasn't taken the steps that you'd want him to. Um, And yeah, this is a team deep in a rebuild, which hopefully they will be able to get because they have all those draft picks from the Watson trade. But yeah, they're the number 32 team in the NFL. Number 31 is the Carolina Panthers. I will say I do think there is a lot more hope in the Panthers than in the Texans. There's a lot of enjoyable pieces to this team. I just think the main problem is that they don't have a head coach. Um, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore is, for now, until one of them gets mad and leaves, is a good wide receiver duo. Um, there's some pieces on that defense I like. Tyler Chin. Tyler, is that his name? The safety. Brian Burns, guys like that. PJ Walker starting at quarterback over two first round QB picks, two top 10 picks, which is very funny. Representing the XFL. Really rooting for him, but I don't think he can really do much on this team. So yeah, Panthers gonna be at 31, which we're not too surprised. Coming in at number 30, the Jacksonville Jaguars. These guys were in the top 16 last time we did this. Boy, have they fallen. They really did have that little couple week stretch where we all thought they were good, but they fooled us, okay? Trevor Lawrence has been playing pretty solid um, for the most part. Christian Kirk has been a touchdown machine so far this season. So there are definitely some positives. Travis Etienne every now and then will go off for a massive game. Josh Allen is still one of the best defensive ends, and it's like this team. It feels like it is still bad, but moving in the right direction. So I don't know how long it will take before this team takes the step to actually being good, but they're trending upwards talent wise, even though if they've fallen in the tier list. Next up at number 29 is going to be the Chicago Bears. Now, this team probably would have been 30, 31, 32, or even just a few weeks ago in the season if we were doing this tier list. But, I mean, Justin Fields, he has. I'm not going to say that this is like his big break, and he's like a elite quarterback now, but he has had a couple games where he has been on target. I mean, some of his deep balls are crazy. But losing Roquan Smith probably isn't good. His team is still deep in the middle of a rebuild. So these four teams, sure, nobody had any expectations for them, obviously. They were all in the midst of a rebuild. This was going to be a lost season for them, regardless. But this next team, while nobody thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl, still thought they'd be better than the bottom five. That is the Las Vegas Raiders. What has been going on with this team? I was higher in the Raiders, picking up Devontae Adams, adding that to Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. Guys like is it Hassan Reddick who joined the team? Yeah. Max Crosby. Hopefully improving secondary. And this head coach, I don't know how he's gotten his, like, every time this guy gets hired for a head coach. Who is it again? Who is it? Fuck. Whatever. Okay. Josh McDaniels. Yeah. Every time this guy gets signed to a team, he just, it doesn't work out. The interim head coach they had after John Gruden resigned for being a bad guy. Um, I'm not saying he was like a tactical genius or anything, but you could sense that he could lead a team. Um, but yeah, terrible coaching. Derek Carr's fallen off the face of the earth. Um, just all around bad things for the Las Vegas Raiders. But that's the bottom five. Now we're moving up to a tier that is worse than the Lions. There's going to be three teams in this tier. Starting off with the number 27 pick, which is the New Orleans Saints. Now, obviously, injuries haven't helped. Jameis Winston being out definitely sucks, but Andy Dalton hasn't been it. Chris Olave is a great young piece they picked up, and this feels like a team that's transitioning. So they haven't completely blown up the franchise, which I think is probably a mistake because I mean they were a playoff team last year, right? Or they've been almost in that wild card picture for a while, uh, but they are just not going anywhere. They're kind of running in circles. Alvin Kamara's still great. There's still some pieces from that offense. That defense, Marshawn Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu. There's pieces, but it feels like it's a team that's halfway in the old era, you know, the Drew Brees, Sean Payton, Cameron Jordan era, and 1 foot in wherever this new era will be with guys like Chris Olave and whoever their future quarterback is. Because if Jameis can't stay healthy and he doesn't perform well, I mean, he's out of here. So yeah, bad season for Saints. Bad season for their rivals, however, in the Atlanta Falcons as well. Marcus Mariota hasn't played terrible, I don't think. He has been lighting the world on fire, not Pro Bowler. But it hasn't been the absolute worst. AJ Terrell has still been solid at cornerback. But again, this is a team that just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of direction. Drake London has been solid. I don't know if there's that big of a future at the QB position if it's Marcus Mariota or Dennis Ritter. Deshaun Ritter. God, I am terrible at names today. The rookie. The O-line is still pretty bad. Defense still pretty bad. Coaching still pretty bad. Kyle Pitts just can't. It's like he's just not getting used properly until like maybe the past 2-ish weeks. Drake London is solid. But yeah, this is just a team that, granted, keeps on finding ways to win. Though they've been lucking out a couple games, I really want to see them win the division because it is possible. And the fact that we're halfway through November and we're still saying that's possible for the Falcons to win the division is wild. But yeah, they're gonna be here for now at number 26. Number 25, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another team that feels like they are one step in the old era, one step in the new era. This is a Mike Tomlin team, so it's hard to see them trying to blow up the whole franchise without getting rid of them, and I personally wouldn't want to get rid of them. But Kenny Pickett, as a rookie, hasn't been terrible, but hasn't been great. A lot of those receivers have just taken a step down. George Pickens been good for his rookie season, but Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, they're just not like they were a year ago. Najee Harris hasn't he's been looking like a bust. This is midway through the second season, been an atrocious second season. I know he doesn't have the best O-line, but at some point He's got to step it up, and he's not. Defense obviously suffering without T.J. Watt. Minkah Fitzpatrick is still one of the best safeties in the league. Yeah, this is just a bad football team. There's not much else to say about them. So that's it for the worse than the Lions tier. Bad but vibing has one team in it, and it is the Detroit Lions at number 24. Finally got together, 2 wins in a row. One against the Packers and one against the... Who did they beat this week? They beat... Who the heck did they beat? They're not winning this week. They're playing the Giants. But the Lions beat the Bears in a close game against an up-and-coming Bears team. Currently sitting at 3-7. Not the worst. But if they can get a late season stretch, then I think there really is hope next season. Especially with the Packers seemingly taking a step down. Bears still probably being a decent way from being competitive. There's hope for the Lions in the future. For now, they're still at number 24, but I think there's a lot of things to be happy about in Detroit. Get a big number 1 quarterback, pair them up with DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they don't have T.J. Hockenson anymore. And that defense, it's been very hit or miss, mostly miss this season, but they've put in a couple of good performances, especially against the Packers. And again, you feel like this is a team that can squeeze out a few wins that they're not supposed to get. So, good luck, honestly. We're all rooting for the Lions. Next up, the tier. Mad that they're bad. These are teams that didn't expect to be as bad as they are, and you can tell they're very upset about it. Number 23 is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. Now, they have kind of started to find a bit of a rhythm, but still, Matt Ryan was not the answer at QB, and I don't have that much faith in the rookie either. An O-line and a defense that's taken a massive step down from being 2 of the best O-lines and defensive lines in the league to now honestly being in the bottom half in the league. Been really disappointing from them. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, there's only so much a running back can do. He's had a solid season, if a bit quiet by his last year's standards, but yeah, not many big threatening receiver options. This is kind of just a nothing team, an empty team, is what this feels like. Coming in at number 22 is my LA Rams, my NFC team. Yeah, who knew that having a bad O-line doesn't just make the evading sacks harder, but also just the entire team just completely takes a drop off. I would say I do believe the defense is still alright. Any team with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and Leonard Floyd and Bobby Wagner, who hasn't played especially great, but has been a solid piece, if you ask me, will still be competitive. Cooper Kupp, still one of the best wide receivers in the league. Allen Robinson hasn't really gotten it going, but Matthew Stafford, massive step down for him. Just not having... When he's forced to throw under pressure, quick, without much time, he makes a lot of sloppy mistakes. We saw this in Detroit, and not having Andrew Whitworth is really hurting them this season. But, moving on, number 21, the Denver Broncos. Let's die. Russell Wilson not been what he's supposed to be. I will say, similar to the Rams, the defense is still quite good. There's a lot of pieces on that defense I really like. Patrick Surtain is straight up a star, easily a top 10 cornerback in the league. Just completely locked down. But that's only one position, and a lot of these other guys really... It's just, the offense just seems like it can't find a rhythm. Every now and then there'll be a big, 40-yard bomb to Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy or Javonte Williams, who's a great running back, will burst through, and him missing parts of the season, having to be replaced by Melvin Gordon, has been rough. But Broncos, a couple of close games. This is a team that is currently, I think, 3-6, but could be 6-3 if a few things go their way and the offense performs a bit better. You gotta think that this head coach is the next one up on the chopping block. Moving on, number 20, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is a weird team to rank, because I feel like they should be lower just based off the record. They're 3-7, but I don't know. I beat the Rams. That's a good sign. Still have Kyler Murray. DeAndre Hopkins is back. Sadly, I think Marquise Brown is out for the entire year. So, again, similar to the Colts, I would say everyone in this tier, aside from our next pick, number 19, you could swap them around any way you want to. But yeah, there's not much I can really say about the Cardinals. Empty team. Never liked Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach. Always thought he's been holding back the team. Defense, still not too much talent. Isaiah Simmons, I think, has stepped up a bit. It's nice to see him because we thought he was all going to be a bust. And he's still not like a Pro Bowler, but I think he's played solid. Buda Baker's still one of the better safeties in the league, but there's only so much that position can do for the whole team. So, yeah, these teams are mad that they're bad, including number 19, the last one in this tier, the Cleveland Browns. Now, obviously, the game plan for the Browns going into the season is just try and get wins where you can, try and stay in it by the time Deshaun Watson gets here. And with Deshaun Watson, sure, they can be a great team, but they're 3-6. Looking at their schedule, let's look it up because I don't think there's too many places you can see them getting a win. I mean, obviously, best case scenario is 11-6. But I think they have a lot of tough divisional matches. Yeah, they're facing the Bills. All right. Without Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett hasn't been it. Nick Chubb has been one of the best probably the best still running backs in the league. A few guys would challenge that, but he's been great. Defense is all right. I like their rookie at linebacker, JOK. Secondary, Denzel Ward has fell off the face of the earth. That really sucks. So this passing defense really, if you're going to beat the Browns, it seems like you're going to beat them just by overwhelming them on offense. I mean, allowed 39 from the Dolphins, 32 from the, they put up 32 against the Bengals. Allowed 30 against the Chargers, 31 against the Jets. Only won by 2 points in their opener against the Panthers. I mean, all of these. I mean, there's a lot of close games. You lose by 1 to the Jets, lose by 3 to the Falcons, lose by 2 to the Chargers, lose by 3 to the Ravens. There's a lot of winnable scenarios right there, but looking at the next step for this team, Bills, that's probably going to be a loss. Bucks, that's probably going to be a loss. Now you're at 3-8, and then Deshaun Watson comes in, and even then, you got some tough teams like the Bengals, Steelers. Well, it's always going to be tough, even if I think the Steelers suck this season, just because divisional round, and Ravens. So yeah, not feeling the Browns. I think hopefully if they can rattle off a couple wins with Deshaun, get them a bit of a worse draft pick, but that's just from the side of a rival team. So now we're moving up to the sad old men tier. First up is Washington Commanders. Now Taylor Heinicke is by no means an old man. He was playing in the XFL for the one season for the Battlehawks. But he gives off the vibe of a sad old man, and I don't want to get. I might be placing this team a bit too low just because I want to counteract any hype that we've all gotten because they took down the #1 Eagles, but I think the Eagles definitely beat themselves that game. And Washington still performed solid. Taylor Heinicke, when he has a good game, he has a great game. But that rarely ever happens. Scary Terry, Pro Bowl wide receiver easily. Talk about a guy who just completely changes the entire team around him. Um, Defense kind of taking a step down from a few years ago, or really just 2 years ago. They had that one season where they went to the playoffs and been underperforming ever since. But this is a great team that keeps on finding wins. Ron Rivera knows what he's doing as a head coach. So yeah. Now getting into the actual old men. At number 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, the Green Bay Packers. Weird season for the Green Bay Packers this year. They are currently, are they last in the, no, they're still second. They're 4-6. And Aaron Rodgers has really struggled without Davante Adams, without having that reliable guy to catch the ball. But I do think that will improve. I think guys like Romeo Doubs, Christian Watkins show some like talent, but will they be there, or will Rodgers be there by the time they really get to shine? By then it might be too late. But some decent weapons, though a very poor offense without Davante Adams. The rushing game, they never run the ball, despite having arguably the best duo at running back in the league with A.J. Dillon and, of course, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is averaging crazy amount of yards per carry, but they're just not giving him the ball. The defense, we all kind of assumed was... I mean, I had them going in as like a fringe top 10 unit in the league. I really believe this defense, but they've really not showed up when it matters. Let's see. Let's check out their season. Lose pretty badly to the Vikings, beat the Bears, beat the Bucks, beat the Patriots, and then lose to the Giants, lose to the Jets, lose to the Commanders, lose to the Bills, lose to the Lions. That's 5 straight losses, and then they have the comeback in overtime against the Dallas Cowboys, which that's what you hope this team will be in the latter half. Because I mean, NFC, they're probably not going to catch up to the Vikings, but they can definitely secure a wild card spot. I don't know who's really going to challenge them for the wild card spot. Niners, Cardinals, not even the Cardinals. Like, it's still wide open as far as wild card spots go. Not a whole lot of good teams in the NFC. Speaking of sad old men, number 16, Buccaneers. I am so happy that Tom Brady is now bad at football, because let me tell you, I have been screaming it to the rooftops. I think since 2019, his last season with the Patriots, even the next two, his first 2 seasons for the Bucks, I wasn't that impressed. He has truly fallen off the face of the earth. Probably because his bones have turned into dust. So that will do it. And usually he has a top 10 defense, top 10 O-line, top 10 weapons to keep him going, because he can't win by himself. But yeah, that's not there this year. No more Gronk, no more Antonio Brown. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin getting injured a lot. Tristan Wirfs being out for a season was rough. His defense has taken a bit of a step back, but still fairly dominant for the most part. It's still definitely the best part of the team, only allowing 3 to the Cowboys, 10 to the Saints, 14 to the Packers in a loss, 15 to the Falcons, 16 to the Seahawks, who have had a pretty good offense all year, 13 to the Rams. But this is not looking like the Super Bowl team that we thought they were going, Super Bowl caliber team we thought they were going to be. It all comes down to the offense. Have they scored over 20 points in a game? Scored 22 against the Ravens, 21 against... Okay, they haven't scored above 25 since the Chiefs game, where they got 31. Slow offense. Tom Brady ain't it. He's getting killed behind that injured, battered up O-line. Rough go for the Bucks, but they got a Super Bowl, so I don't feel bad for them or the Rams, even though I like the Rams. Next tier is going to be what I call the sneaky tier. These are teams that you don't expect to really ball out, but every now and then they do. These teams are all around 500, maybe one or two. They're all like one or two wins above 500. Starting off number 15 with the New England Patriots, a Bill Belichick coach team will stay in it, no matter who the quarterback is, no matter how bad the roster is, because this is a bad roster. But they just Matthew Judon and Jonathan Jones are just holding this entire team together by like sheer might, and it's gotten them to 5-4, which is admirable, truly. I mean, let's look at their season. Lose to the Dolphins, beat the Steelers, lose to the Ravens, don't beat the Packers, but make that game a lot more competitive than it should have been. I mean, blow out the Lions, win by 23 against the Browns, get beaten by the Bears. This is an inconsistent team, because if you make mistakes, you will lose to the New England Patriots. But I don't think too many offensive weapons are really going to shine through. They're just going to play smart, grounded football with very bad talent, but they're not going to throw 5 interceptions a game. That's basically their strategy. Number 14, next up in sneaky tier, is the New Jersey Jets. I have really enjoyed watching this team because they don't make sense to me. They really don't. They're 6-3, same record as the Bills. Beat the Bills by 3. Upset them. Beat the Browns. You beat the Dolphins by 23. Like, a bit of an easy schedule. I'm looking at their schedule, and it's like they fought 1, 2, 3, only 4 teams with a winning record out of their 9 games, and I mean, Zach Wilson hasn't been great, but like, again, I don't know. Sauce Gardner Jr. better be the defensive player of the year, because in my opinion, there's no rookie, or the rookie of the year, because there's been no rookie of the year, no rookie this season that can match him. He's been absolutely locked down all season long. So yeah, this is where the Jets will be. Number 13, we got the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that hasn't been too healthy. A lot of injuries to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And, yeah, but when this team gets going, they really do get going. Khalil Mack and, who was the other big signing? J.C. Jackson. Solid pieces to his defense. Joey Bosa being out is really rough. Derwin James, I think, is healthy. I think he's playing. I don't know. There are so many injuries on this team. Herbert is still, in my opinion, top 10, if not fringe top 5 quarterback in the league. And yeah, a lot of these games, again, very close. Beat the Raiders by 5, lose to the Chiefs by 3, lose by 28 to the Jags. And that's the thing about the Chargers. They'll just, like, absolutely suck one random week every year. But you only beat the Texans by 10, beat the Browns by 2, beat the Broncos by 3, lose to the Seahawks by 14, beat the Falcons by 3, lose to the Niners by 6, and looking at their schedule, you play the Chiefs, that's probably a loss, Cardinals, that's a win, Raiders, that's a win, Chargers, or Dolphins, that's a loss, Titans, that's a loss, Colts, that's a win, Rams, you can probably squeak a win out of, and Broncos, you can probably squeak a win out of. So, yeah, they're going to have to play more consistency is what is really holding this team back. Which that can be chalked up to injuries, but they're really gonna have to pull it together to try and make that big push towards the playoffs in the next couple months. Moving up to the probably good tier, we're pretty sure that these teams are good. We're not 100% sure, but we're pretty sure. Starting off with the Bengals, slow start to the season, really rough start to the season. Zach Taylor is not a good NFL head coach, but Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and especially Joe Mixon just keeping the team together. Couple solid pieces on that defense. Still don't think the secondary is all that great, but they're trugging along. I think they're not in that Super Bowl shape that they were last year. I don't think the momentum's on their side, but they're going to be a tough team to beat. I think that with the right circumstances and on a good day, they can probably. This is the tier where any of these teams could beat any other team if they get super lucky. So yeah. Next up, it's the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith has just absolutely gone crazy as he leads his team to the number 11 spot. I mean, Pete Carroll, I guess, is a good head coach. I honestly thought he was ass, but apparently not. And yeah, Geno Smith just this team again doesn't make sense. They put up a stupid amount of points all of the time. They're 4-3 currently. They put up where is it? Beat the Broncos week 1, lose to the Niners, lose to the Falcons, but then boom, 48 against the Seahawks, against the Lions in a win. 32 in a loss against the Saints. His defense, by the way, is very bad. Beat the Cardinals by 10. Beat the Chargers by 14. Beat the Giants by 14. Beat the Cardinals by 10. Lose to the Bucks, and again, this offense has been mostly great. It's just the defense that's pulling them out, and every now and then the defense will pull in a great game. 9 points to the Cardinals, only 16 to the Broncos. But defense still isn't great. That has been the story of the Seahawks all season. Moving into the top 10, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons, man. Even if the stat sheet doesn't show it, he is probably the best defensive player in the league. Just so valuable on the edge, even off the ball, he's good. Trayvon Diggs is, in my opinion, had a more quiet year, but probably a better year than last year, where he just gave up an ungodly amount of yards. Dak being back is good, and this team could pull out games without Dak. So a healthy Dak in this team makes them a playoff threat. These guys will be going with the best of them come January, which again is kind of where we said last year, and it didn't turn out that way. But who knows? This hopefully will be different for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 9 is the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry. This team is coached amazingly. Just even without a solid QB or solid pass catching options, this is a team that doesn't really have any superstars outside of Derrick Henry, but they are essentially a better version of the New England Patriots. They limit their mistakes and capitalize on the mistakes of others, making them a very boring football team to watch, but a very good one. So that's it for probably good. Now we're going to go to the big boys and the wannabe big boys. These teams are your main 8 Super Bowl contenders, starting with the New York Giants. Brian Daboll has easily been Coach of the Year. I mean, not to take away from Daniel Jones, but this offense should not be working the way it is. Saquon Barkley being back you love to see it. Really, I didn't really expect him to have this big of a year coming off of all those injuries. This defense plays good. Just a very well-coached, great football team. Number 7, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Bit of an up-and-down season for the team that was one win away from the Super Bowl. But Jimmy Garoppolo back as the starting quarterback. Uh, he he's a winner. Say what you want about him. The addition of Christian McCaffrey might be the scariest thing God has ever planned up. Deebo Samuel's still great. That defense is still great. This team, if they can just like not lose their shit once every other week, I mean, easy Super Bowl contender. But we'll have to see whether or not the consistency stays there. Ravens coming at number 6. Um, yeah, rarely pulled it together these past couple weeks. Been a bit quiet. They haven't really moved up in the power rankings because of like having 13 days off. But you look at this team, and this is a prime AFC contender. Very probably, I think the easiest schedule in the NFL going forward. They're 6-3 currently. Got like the Panthers and the Jaguars and the Falcons. So they Broncos should be games that they win. Lamar Jackson is still playing great. I think NFL ranks him as the number 5th in MVP probability, behind like 4 other quarterbacks. And yeah, he deserves everything. Running back has been getting better with Gus and Dobbin. Or well, no, Dobbin's been out. Gus and Kenyon Drake has really put in a lot of effort. So this passing game still could be better. Lamar is missing a couple throws, but I think that's more of like a chemistry and rhythm thing that has to get going. Some guys are also dropping the ball, especially Rashad Bateman and Isaiah Likely. But when they do get the ball, they are great. Mark Andrews injured is rough, but he should be back not too soon. So this offense is working effectively. Ronnie Stanley has been incredible since he came back. Morgan Moses is also a solid right tackle. The interior's been mostly decent with Kevin Zeitler. Ben Powers is a bit. Tyler Lindenbaum is already a Pro Bowl caliber center. And then on the defense, again, they've really pulled through the past couple of weeks. Getting Roquan Smith, he's made an immediate impact. Justin Houston is doing things that he should not be able to do at his age. Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters still holding it down. I thought the injury of Marcus Williams were you really see it on the field, but you really haven't. I mean, it'd be nice to have him back, but Geno Stone hasn't like given up crazy deep plays. Patrick Queen, not having to be the number 1 inside guy will definitely help with him. And just good things going for the Ravens so far. Number 5, the Dolphins. Tua time, baby. Not Mike McDaniel. Is it Josh McDaniels is the one we don't like. Mike McDaniels is the one we do like. Has just made an offensive powerhouse with Waddle and Hill and even Gesicki, the tight end, getting in there. I mean, Tua's played great. All the credit goes to him. But it's kind of easy to be a good quarterback for the Dolphins right now. Defense, not as good as we expected them to be, but still solid. They're not completely pooping the bed and ruining games for them, but it's not like an elite defense. Now finally the big boys. Let's just get them all out of the way. Eagles. I still have the Vikings at 3. I'll put the Bills. And then Chiefs number 1. Eagles, Jalen Hurts, incredible. A.J. Brown, incredible. The running game, incredible. Offensive line, great. Defense, solid. I mean, this unit made a lot of mistakes against the Commanders, but only lost the season. And it's a young team with guys like Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. And, I mean, A.J. Brown. I feel like he's been in the league for a while, but he's still fairly young. Great things coming for the Eagles. If not this season, then definitely in the future. Bills, number 3, they've fallen. Like, the past 2 weeks being losses. Very close losses, but, like, looking at 6-3, Josh Allen has thrown a lot of interceptions. But still, I think They'll be fine in the long run. They just gotta pick it up before January. Number 2 is the Vikings, who beat the Bills. I mean, Kirk Cousins is playing good. Justin Jefferson might be the best wide receiver. Definitely will have the best first 3 seasons as a wide receiver in NFL history. And you know there's going to start to be those annoying conversations about, is he already in the GOAT wide receiver category? And I'm not going to have those, because why are you having that debate when he's only been in the league for 3 years? But he's incredible. Probably the most valuable non-QB player in the league. Defense has held it down for the most part. Nothing to complain. And then the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Do I have to talk about the Chiefs? I don't want to, because I don't like talking good about the Chiefs. It makes me want to throw up. So there's my power rankings. My voice has died, as is tradition for these lists. And we'll see how this goes for the next couple months. Bye.